Sean Allen Krill is with us today on Luncheon with the Stars with secretstobroadway.com. And welcome, Sean.
Thank
great
you.
to see you.
It's great to see you too. It's great to be here.
It's fantastic. Now, the last time, here's a secret that you might not have known, is that Sean and I did a project together called Howard, an American musical, and it's based on the life of Howard Hughes, who was definitely an enigmatic character in those days. It was just unbelievable.
To say the least.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you played Noah Dietrich.
Noah Dietrich, yes. I was, Noah is, he's his sort of right-hand man behind the scenes, kind of, not a lot of people know about him. He was a guy that kind of took care of everything for Howard Hughes for over 25 years.
Yeah, and that's really, if you can imagine, is that Howard Hughes had the brains and the wherewithal to want to get projects done. And it was really up to your character, Noah Dietrich, in order to get them done.
Yeah,
and,
Do It, Noah.
Yeah,
that's the big song,
one of
right?
the songs.
That's my big song. That was a fun project. We've done that how many? Four times?
Three or four times. And the last time we did it was at the Manhattan Movement and Art Center on 248 60th Street, which is down by 11th Avenue, and it was a wonderful venue. Actually, it was a lot larger, and we were able to have the orchestra in a great place so that you could hear everything.
That orchestra, right?
It was
lovely.
wonderful. It was terrific.
Seven pieces or something. Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah,
and they all loved the music too.
Yeah. Well, it's a great show. They're doing a great job with it.
The good part about the show is that it has a 30s feel to it, but music that you've never heard before from the 30s.
Right.
But it has that flair and it has nostalgia just built right into the show, and I think that's phenomenal.
I know.
And it will.
Here's hoping.
Well, yeah. It's not. They're not up there. We're not doing hip hop or rap, but it certainly is a viable piece.
It's a great show.
We'll see. As you know, Secrets to Broadway, we also cover the supernatural. So we've.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That was a secret to me.
Absolutely.
I've never seen or felt anything in a theater here, but I did have a funny thing happen last night. Of all things, yes. I didn't know that this was a thing I could talk about. So I didn't realize we were doing ghost stories. So, but I told you about my partner Guy, who was an actor as well.
Yes.
He passed away from colon cancer about almost 6 years ago. I was sitting in my apartment last night, and I was just sort of thinking to myself out loud, like I do sometimes when I'm a crazy man.
You're not
wow, it was kind of late, and I thought, well, I need to go to bed. I need to go to bed. It's just time. I got to get up and do this interview tomorrow with Joel, and out of nowhere, I hear Guy's voice. So I should have given you a little backstory, but he was a writer. He was an actor, but he also played guitar and he wrote his own music. And so this particular song that came on was a song that was just an a cappella song that he wrote. There was no music at all, and so it was literally just his voice that came out of nowhere. And I was just sitting there thinking, I've got to go to bed. And then all of a sudden I just heard a guy singing to me, and it was like, okay, all right, I'm going. But it felt like encouragement. It wasn't like a spooky, scary story. But
Sean, I know
Joel.
you've been. I know that you have been standing by for stars, which means obviously what that means to the producers is that you're very extremely talented and you have a great voice, and I know that because I did the show with you.
Extremely talented.
What I'm saying is that you have the ability to go on for Tony Danza or for Harry Connick Jr. and to do the show. What's that like? What's that feel?
It is. Honestly, it's a great gig. It's not something that I have to be honest and say it's not something I love doing because I love to perform.
Right.
but it is a great job to have. You know what I mean? It is. They are both jobs that came at a time when, you know, it like, you know, it was great to have the paycheck, and they were lovely companies to be a part of, both of them. And I don't always, excuse me, I don't always say that. I mean, On a Clear Day was a great group of people, and Honeymoon in Vegas was just, I mean, I loved that show,
Yeah,
and I loved, you know, there were just, I was so thrilled to be a part of both of them, and I was, for both, I believe I was the last, you know, as the standby, I was the last person to join the cast.
Right, absolutely.
It was really a joy to be a part of both of those, especially Honeymoon. Maybe it's probably just because it was the most recent one, but such a great group of people, and they loved that show, and I loved the show, and I loved watching it. It was just a pleasure, and you know.
What do you think was missing as far as why it closed and everything else?
Honeymoon?
Yeah.
I actually am completely dumbfounded why that show isn't still running. I thought it was just a great, perfect Broadway show. I really did. I think it was just, I don't know. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can
What were the reviews
conjecture.
like? What were the reviews for that?
The reviews were love letters.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know if it was just bad timing, bad, you know, positioning. You know, for some weird reason, I don't know what it is about that 41st Street. Seems like it's so far off Broadway or something, and it's not. And I don't know. It's.
So you were at the Niederlander.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just loved it. Jason's music was out of sight, and Tony was great, and
Now, did you make friends
Robin
with Tony?
Brenner was so great.
You know, did he tell you any jokes or anything?
well-
We have to find out, because, you know, I like to tell jokes backstage myself, so.
he didn't tell me any jokes, but he's a funny guy. You know?
sure he is,
Just,
yeah.
He's exactly who you think he's going to be.
Absolutely.
He is Tony from Taxi.
Yeah.
You know, it just is that guy.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, it was interesting once we got into the part where I was rehearsing the show myself. It was hard to not kind of just, you know, do Tony Danza when I was doing the show. You know, it was just because they didn't really want me to do. You know, they were very clear that they wanted me to be, you know,
Sure. I know.
play, you know, to play the role and not, you know, not impersonate Tony. You know.
No, the first time I went on as Valjean, I had
Oh, no.
a mustache that, and you know, the first time you go on for a major role,
Flop sweat.
It's just like, yeah, it's just.
Nothing would ever stay on
Yeah,
my face.
it just,
There's
you know,
no
all
way.
of a sudden it's just
There's
like.
no way.
You could see that, you know, the Valjean, the beard had at least an elastic that went up underneath the
Right.
wig joint, and, you know, so I
Oh,
saw
no.
this thing flapping like that.
Oh.
I'm there, and my mouth is like, it's a desert. You just want water.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
your nerves and
Right.
your heart's pounding and everything
All the
else.
moisture's in all the wrong places. It's like, are you kidding me?
man.
I'm sweating so. How could I possibly be thirsty right now?
As you can see, we have finished the most delicious entree for a luncheon
Yeah,
here.
so delicious.
We just, absolutely
Make for your
fantastic.
plates?
Yeah.
Sure, thank you, Cheryl.
I didn't enjoy mine at all, Cheryl.
Yeah, no,
I need a nap.
yeah.
Is there a nap?
My pork chop had an excellent, it was tender and juicy, but it also had a crunch with the vegetables that they had, sort of like a ratatouille almost on top of it. How was your...
Salmon was perfect.
Yeah, the salmon was absolutely
It was perfect.
excellent.
I don't know what they did to those vegetables. They were in some kind of sauce that was so savory, and they were same thing.
Yeah,
kind of
fantastic.
a little crunchy.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were grilled, and
Yeah.
they were delicious.
And we are waiting for our desserts, and as we are waiting for them, I'd like to find out about Mamma Mia and how that
Oh,
tour
Mamma
went.
Mia.
Yes, and how you were talking about how you and Guy went through the country and everything else, and I think you tasted their excellent tequila.
I sure did. Yes, I was on tour for 2 years with Mamma Mia, and I drove the whole time because I had my dog with me.
Right.
And he's a big dog, so I drove, and 2 months of that time was through Mexico.
Wow.
And so we drove, and it was just an incredible experience. I drove all over the continent, really. We drove from Vancouver to Montreal, down to Mexico City and Guadalajara. I just drove that car all over this country and the continent. It was but Mexico was yes, they have very good tequila there. I really liked that part.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, helps with the chords, helps with the singing the
So I
album.
heard that it actually cleans the chords and takes off a lot of
It's true.
phlegm.
It helps with high notes. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Breaking up is never easy. Yeah.
2, 4, 6, 1.
There you go. Yeah.
I think what we'd like to do right now is to talk about what Sean's going to be doing next. What is your next project?
Well, I'm really excited about it. It's I did a show in Chicago, actually. It was commissioned by Chicago Shakespeare. Last year I went there to do a new musical adaptation of Sense and Sensibility.
Oh,
Jane Austen novel.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Played Colonel Brandon.
Yes.
And just loved every minute of it. It's written by Tony Award-winning composer Paul Gordon. He was nominated for Jane Eyre.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just one of the most beautiful things I've ever had the pleasure of being a part of. And it was a big hit, and we're going to take it to the Old Globe this summer. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's a role that I just, we talked a little bit about, my guy who I lost almost 6 years ago to cancer. And Guy Atkins is his name. Amazing actor, just a really amazing soul, and I just got remarried in June, and
You're just wild about
Harry Boovie.
That's
That's right, and this role really speaks to me because that's exactly what happens to Colonel Brandon. He loses the love of his life. And essentially mourns for 15 years. He's just done with love, and then he meets Marianne.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
You're with us.
I'm so glad this has been fantastic.
Yes, we've had an absolutely wonderful time, and please come to Orso. Call for your reservation.
Yes.
Right now.
Promotional consideration for this portion of SecretsToBroadway.com furnished by Orso Restaurant. Recognized by the New York Times, Orso's character has evolved over 30 years into a lively pre- and post-theater restaurant, as well as a regular lunch destination. Orso, 322 West 46th Street in New York City. Telephone 212-489-7212.